Breaking news, a final blow to the dollar. China and Mexico play their final card to bring it down. The US dollar is in real danger, and this time it's coming from China and Mexico. The dollar's global power seems to be in trouble as both countries take action that could change the world's economy. China, along with its friends, has started a big financial plan to challenge the dollar's power. With over $100 billion at stake, Chinese banks have taken a short position in the market, betting that the dollar's value will go down. In the financial world, a short position means betting that something's value, in this case the dollar, will go down. If this bet is right, China could make a lot of money. But if it fails, the results could be really bad for their economy, which is already having problems after big companies like Evergrande collapsed. This money risk is just one part of a bigger fight for power in the world. Many people see this as a new Cold War, and the fight isn't just between the United States and Russia anymore. Now China is a really strong competitor. During the first Cold War, the world was divided between the capitalist West, led by the United States, and the communist East, led by the Soviet Union. Even though that fight didn't turn into a real war, both sides spent decades building up their weapons and trying to be more influential than the other. When the Soviet Union fell apart in 1991, the United States became the world's strongest leader for almost 20 years. But while this was happening, China was quietly growing its economy, making its military stronger, and becoming more influential around the world. Now, China and Russia, which are close friends, have become powerful countries that are challenging the United States. Experts are now talking about Cold War 2.0, where the competition isn't just about armies, but also about money and technology. The United States has its traditional allies in Europe and Asia, but China has been building relationships with developing countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, what's known as the Global South. Unlike the first Cold War, which was all about military power, this new one is happening on many fronts, including who controls natural resources, who's ahead in important technologies like artificial intelligence and microchips, and of course the economy. China has been very smart about how it's working with developing countries. For years it has been investing in these countries' infrastructure, building roads, ports and railroads, and earning their loyalty. On the other hand, the United States has been seen as a country that takes advantage of resources and cheap labor. This difference in approach has helped China gain ground in the fight for global influence. Mexico has also been making bold moves in the global economy. In a surprising move, Mexico has started to sell off its dollar reserves, aligning itself with China's strategy of relying less on the dollar and making the yuan stronger. Mexico is selling dollars and buying gold, which experts see as a way to prepare for a future where their economy is more independent and less reliant on the US dollar. At the same time, Mexico is moving forward with the Isthmus of Tehuantepec Trade Corridor project, a huge infrastructure project that will connect the country's Atlantic and Pacific coasts. This project won't just transform Mexico into an economic powerhouse, it could also reshape global trade routes. The Isthmus Corridor puts Mexico in a strategic position at the heart of global trade, especially now that climate change is affecting traditional routes like the Panama Canal. If this project is successful, Mexico could benefit greatly, as it sells its dollar reserves and invests in gold, reinforcing its intention to become a major player in the global economy. As China, Mexico, and other rising nations like those in the BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, look for alternatives to the dollar, the future of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency is uncertain. For decades, the dollar has been the go-to currency for global trade, but the rise of these emerging economies is creating a growing interest in finding alternatives. If the BRICS succeed in establishing a new reserve currency, the demand for dollars could fall, which would lead to a decrease in its value. The impact of a dollar collapse would be huge. Economies that have depended on it would face instability, while countries that have diversified their reserves, like China and Mexico, would be in a stronger position. The growing power of the BRICS Plus group, which includes more emerging economies, shows that the balance of economic power in the world is changing quickly. This group has already surpassed the G7 in terms of purchasing power parity, making it the new engine of global growth. For the United States, these changes are a big challenge, As countries like China and Mexico try to rely less on the dollar, the United States is being forced to rethink its approach to global economic leadership. The world economy is at a turning point, and the decisions made in the next few years will determine the future of the dollar and the balance of power on the global stage. To sum it up, China's financial bet, Mexico's bold decision to sell dollars, and the growing power of the BRICS group are reshaping the world economy. Is this the beginning of the end for the dollar's dominance? Only time will tell, but it's clear that the rules of the game have changed, and the outcome of this modern economic battle will have a huge impact for decades to come. What do you think? Can you imagine a world without the dollar as the most powerful currency? Well, that might be happening right now. The BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are joining forces to create a new, more balanced financial system. With their strategies and trade agreements, they are trying to break the dollar's dominance and create an era where emerging economies have more power. This means that the rules of the game could change completely, giving more opportunities to developing countries. But are you ready for such a big change? The United States, which has enjoyed being the economic superpower for so long, now has to adapt to this new reality. Can it find new ways to stay relevant in this world with multiple centers of power? Only time will tell what will happen to the dollar. What we do know is that the financial landscape is changing, and the future will be very different from what we know. What do you think? Do you think it's time for a fairer economic system? Share your thoughts in the comments. The United States has put a lot of effort into keeping the dollar as the most important currency in the world. It has used different strategies, from changing its interest rates to making agreements with other countries. It has also used its power in the big financial institutions to keep the dollar as the currency everyone uses for their savings. But with countries like China growing so much economically and other countries diversifying their savings, the future of the dollar is not so clear. So what will the United States do to face this great challenge? Can it change and adapt to this new financial reality? What happens will not only decide the future of the dollar, but also which countries will be the most powerful in the world. In the meantime, we are all watching to see if the economic giant maintains its reign, or if we are about to see a new era in global finance. What do you think? Do you think the United States will be able to maintain its position, or do you think the world financial system is about to change forever? Tell us in the comments.